What's going on, folks? TJ Lowerman here, baseball community manager for Out of the Park Developments. I am here alongside digitally OOTP developer Matt Arnold. Matt, how's it going?
I'm doing good.
We've had some pretty big news in the last few days. We have announced Out of the Park Baseball 18 available for pre-order now over at ootpdevelopments.com. Let's go check that out. If you order this week, you're going to get 20% off. And you also get a chance to get yourself in the game as a draft prospect, I believe, in the standard game.
Yeah, I think that's the idea.
Me and Adam, the hockey community manager, we're thinking we need to get into this as well. Because it seems kind of messed up that we're not in there.
Yeah, I don't think you're allowed to win though. So
I know, but just stick me in. Just put me in there as like a great player. Who does that? Is that Lucas? Do I need to talk to him?
you probably need to talk to Lucas.
All right.
Yeah, he can try to squeeze you in. But
Maybe I can get onto maybe I can get a historical roster too.
start in 1932 or something,
Yeah,
and
they'll never know. But yeah, if you pre-order now, 20% off. That ends this Friday, as does the entry for getting into the game, which that'd be pretty cool. Because as community manager, I see a lot of tweets about people. Like when you see real trades in real life, you will not believe how many, specifically for prospects, you will not believe how many tweets I see. Like, oh, that dude turns into a beast in like 2023 in my Out of the Park sim. I love
I
that.
think every prospect has turns into a beast in someone's sim.
Yeah. Who did I had some interesting ones. I just recently did one where I ran a historic sim where Bo Jackson didn't go to the NFL, so he just
Yeah,
stayed in baseball. It turned out very interesting. Like Randy Johnson never got his act together because you might remember he was like wild in Montreal and never really put it all together for a while, but he never figured it out. Ken Griffey stayed being like a more speed guy. I think he stole like 400 bases, but he never developed the power. I think Bonds did kind of the same thing. But yeah, and guys like who was it? I think Dean Palmer ended up like number 3 on the home run list.
well, that's the fun of the game. You never know what's going to happen.
I think also Richard Hidalgo did really good. Manny Ramirez, I believe, was a first ballot Hall of Fame or first ballot 100% Hall of Famer. So that was kind of
Huh?
cool. But let's talk about some of the cool stuff in Out of the Park Baseball 18. The big thing we mentioned was challenge mode, which is going to be a little bit of a kind of online thing that we're going to be talking about more. So we don't have a ton on that. 3D highlight reels, which is going to be kind of like a game recap that you can see using the 3D engine. Is that true? Do you know anything about that? Because here's the thing: if you guys are watching at home, they don't show me anything because they know loose lips sink ships, and I'll be out here blabbing about everything. So all this is a mystery to me as well.
Yeah, some of this ends up being a mystery to me as well. But the 3D highlights essentially they still have to do a little bit of work on that. But the idea is basically to rewatch the highlights of a game in 3D. So
That's
if you sim something and you see, oh, there was some cool stuff that happened. I wonder what that actually would have looked like if I played it out. Well, we should be able to have that now. So well,
yeah.
also with that, I don't think we actually announced it on here, but you can actually store the whole game and recap in 3D. So
Ooh,
I think a lot of online leagues are like that too, where you can basically generate the 3D for the game and then basically just watch your game after it's done.
that's pretty cool. Especially for like the World Series or playoffs, you can just do it out and people can watch them. You could even, what you do is you do them at your house and then you stream them out to the people playing. They
Yeah,
don't
you
even know.
can stream it out for that, and that
I mean, you
yeah.
can't beat our commentary, but you could try. A couple other big things. We're introducing tournaments. We'll get into that a little bit more deep depth a little bit later. We've finally, I want to say this is like the number 1 or number 2 most requested thing is that the Negro Leagues have been added to the historical database. So we're gonna have we're gonna be seeing lots of people running that stuff. I'm pretty interested in that. What else? Available March 24th. But if you order this week, it'll be 20% off, only $31.99. Yeah, and you can get in the game as a prospect. All right, let's go down here a little further. Also, big heads up. If you pre-order through Accelerate, there won't be a Steam key this year due to some of the changes with the way Steam works and how we want to do our beta stuff or our early access stuff. We can't do that. So sadly, we won't be doing that. But when the game goes live on Steam on March 24th, we'll still do the 10% discount, so you can get it at a lower price there. Marcus did an AMA today on Reddit, which turned out pretty great. It actually ended up being a Marcus and Matt AMA, essentially.
I only chipped in a few questions, a few answers here and there, but Marcus answered the 150 or 200 or whatever it was questions otherwise.
Yeah, I think we got over like 350 comments. I'd have to
over 350 comments total.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
You said it for 2.5 hours or so. That's
yeah, I think it was 2.5 hours. Though I'm starting to get worried that I feel like I might be the actual best baseball player on the OOTP team. I did hit 400 in high school.
Marcus played minor league ball in Germany.
Well, look, I don't know what Germany's like.
Level that is, it's definitely a higher level than my softball league in Toronto.
Well, I was recently doing a sim of Italy's baseball, and I was like, oh, this guy is pretty good. And then I went to see what their real stats were, like in real life. I'm pretty sure I might be able to play in Italy. Even now, and I have not played in a couple of years. So I don't know. I don't know what Germany's like. Though I did check out Finnish baseball. If you ever have time and want to go down a YouTube rat hole, Finnish baseball is very interesting. It's like they kind of got the memo, but didn't. They drop the ball from above the batter, and they just dive into all the bases. It's very interesting. Definitely worth checking out.
I'm not sure what the German baseball is like, but I know he played, and I think it was a real baseball there, but I'm not sure to what level that covered to. So you might be the best one on the team.
Interesting. I'll take pride in that then. I mean, we have there's a guy from Germany right now. I think he played for the Giants, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know, but you know what? You can find him. We'll have the 2017 updated opening day rosters.
The actual German guy in Major League Baseball, Max Kepler?
Yes. There's another one, too. Isn't there a pitcher, I believe?
I'm not sure. I know Kepler is actually like...
Is he...
He's like legitimately good.
Is he legitimately German, though?
I think he is.
You know, like the American soccer team? They're all German? It's like they were born on Air Force bases in Germany, but we call them German.
Yeah, I mean, there's always those cases like there's a goalie who was born in Germany but raised elsewhere. But no, I think Kepler is legitimately like he went through the German baseball leagues or something.
I swear there was another pitcher. I don't know. We'll figure this out. Yeah, up to date 2017 opening day rosters. Same Zips player projection system that we have for all the independents. Of course, the 8 international leagues that we have: Japan, South Korea, Taiwan, Australia, Italy, the Netherlands. Which, if you watch the streams this year, we won the Dutch championship by throwing a perfect game in Game 5 of the Dutch World Series. It was amazing.
Perfect game?
Yeah, I could not believe it.
I've never seen that in the game. I don't think Marcus has said he's ever seen a perfect game either.
Whoa, well, I'll have to send you guys the link. Orlando Yantema did it. I was very excited. I need to check if he's on the World Baseball Classic rosters for the Netherlands this year. That would be good. Mexico, Cuba, several international independent leagues we'll have. If you guys are fans of independent leagues or any of the international leagues, and there's guys that you think should have better better ratings, make sure you get to the forums on ootpdevelopments.com/board I think it's in the Out of the Park 17 forum. There is a place for roster stuff, and you put a thing in there. These guys will go check it out, make sure these guys are updated. There was it a Korean guy or a Japanese guy that did really good, and we verified that he's super good this year. So that should be good to check out. We also have the new challenge game mode and online user profiles. Do you want to talk about that? Can you talk a lot about that? I don't know. That's seems like a lot of cool stuff that, again, they don't tell me
We're
because
still finalizing a lot of details with this, so we're still trying to exactly narrow down to see what it's exactly going to be and what it's going to play out as for now. And certainly that's one that's going to probably change a lot and adapt over the next year or two. Mark's secret later in the year hint that we'll keep tempting people with but never actually say.
Yeah. Yeah, some people saw the login thing on top, and they were asking if it was something about DRM or something. And I said, no, it's about this challenge mode, but are you planning on stealing the game from us, or what's the plan here? And the guy's like, oh, no.
The main thing with the challenge mode, I think, we're as I said, we're still finalizing details, but basically we'll have a way you can basically register and log in, and then it's essentially a way so that we can control things a little bit more in the game. So we'll disable stuff like the editor and set things into a little bit more sort of tightly controlled environment, and then from that we can kind of extract a little bit more stats in terms of how you do in the game and how you play it through. I think part of it will play a little bit similarly to the FHM's Path to Glory, is it called?
Yeah.
Where it's in some ways inspired by that, so you won't be able to do like long-term sims with it. You'll have to sim through not day to day, but a few days at a time or week at a time or something like that. And it's just a way to essentially control it, and then we'll have some new achievements and stuff specific to that we can look into, and you can just kind of compare how you're in some ways compare how you're doing against other users too.
Yeah, that's the big thing. Everybody does their stuff a little bit differently, so this will give everybody like an even playing field, and then we can really see who's the best out of the park player out there.
Yeah, we can't have in the regular game mode, you log in and say, oh, I won the World Series with my Chicago White Sox, but then you look at that team and it has Mike Trout and Clayton Kershaw on it, and Babe Ruth, and you're like, well, I don't know if that's exactly what the White Sox team this year is going to stack up as. So.
Yeah. JCP in the chat wants to know, is the login just for the challenge?
I believe so. Well, the rest of the game modes will stay basically the same.
Yep. Yeah, it's mainly for the online user profile. We're thinking of some fun stuff to do with those profiles, so if you have ideas, we'd love to hear them. Improved 3D mode and game highlight reels, which we discussed. So the 3D mode that we introduced last year, getting updated, so that will look a little better. And then the highlight reel, which you mentioned earlier, you'll be able to go back, replay the whole game or just highlights from a certain game.
Yeah.
I know Marcus mentioned, I don't know if it was from this year or at some other point, he said that there was a game that A-Rod had 5 home runs in.
That was, I think he said, when he was playing one of his like historically great games. I think that was probably like 10 years ago or something.
Yeah,
but.
And if he had a highlight reel, he could have gone back and watched that right now. He could have posted the link to it in the AMA. Can you replay 3D in online leagues?
You should be able to. We might have to play around a little bit with stuff to make sure it works. But, I mean, essentially, all we're essentially doing under the covers is storing the 3D in the game recap. And then as long as you can get access to that game recap object, you can load it up in your game and play it, and it's look almost exactly like you're playing up the game as you would normally.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? Not only would that be good for like league playoffs, also the All-Star game.
Yeah.
Imagine you send out that email to your whole league and be like, "Hey, here's the All-Star game." That'd be pretty cool. Tournaments and fall leagues. Are you like the guy doing the tournaments and fall leagues?
I did most of the work on that. Yeah.
Yeah, so we will have the Arizona Fall League, uh, where the best prospects play. You can go have Tim Tebow play in the Arizona Fall League. Wow, wait, hold on. Tim Tebow wasn't a. He only played in the Arizona Fall League, right? I wonder if he's going to be in the historical roster then.
Yeah, no. I think he played some minor league ball before then, didn't he? Or was the Arizona Fall League his first?
I think it was his first.
I know he only signed back in September or so, so it was basically right at the end of the season. So maybe it was his only minor league time.
Well, I'll have to check with the team to see, make sure Tim Tebow's in there. Yeah, or you can set up your own tournaments and stuff. Lots of cool stuff with the tournaments. I was tweeting out a bunch of the tournament stuff from the Twitter account from the AMA today. If you want to go into that, and then I will pull up those tweets that I can reference.
Yeah.
So you said it's gonna be set up like the Arizona Fall League. We can just set up like a couple players from each team can get fed into that, right? Just like normal.
Yeah, so there's tons of different modes and stuff you can do with it. Essentially, the fall league will be sort of one of the default setups where basically it's a 6-team league. Each team basically grabs, I don't know what it is, about 7 guys each from their 5 affiliated teams, and then they play their little tournament and have a championship. So it's it's set up that one will be a little bit more of a development league. So your players who play in that will, develop more than they would otherwise if you send them there. We're still narrowing down a little bit on the exact mechanism for who picks where to go, but the other part too is you can take on the GM role of a team in the Arizona Fall League and actually choose the rosters yourself.
Yeah, and something from the AMA was I believe you were saying that you can use the Arizona Fall League kind of like template for the tournaments, but you can also have like the teams based on like countries of origin. I think someone suggested doing a 50-team tournament with players only from the states that broken down by states. I think someone said.
Yeah, so with the either the fall league or the tournaments, they essentially all work very similarly. The slight differences between whether they're essentially marked as a development tournament or just sort of a fun tournament. But yeah, teams can be either based on those, pick rosters from other teams, or they can be, national teams. They can be any region you can define in the game. So every state, I think, has its own region in the game, or you can set that up. So you can have states versus states. You can have countries versus countries. You can basically set up regions and have U.S. versus the world, or you can have, break the U.S. down into 2 or 3 teams and have them as one region, and Canada as another region, and the Dominican leagues and Dominicans set up in a different region, and Europe in a different one, and have an international tournament. And
What else? There was something else. Yeah, you could also do double elimination and pool formats and stuff.
yeah, so for the essentially we added a couple more playoff formats. So you can either do basically the same playoffs setup you can do now, or you can do the essentially what was similar to what the WBC did in the last time they had one, which was like a not quite a full double elimination, but like sort of a double elimination tournament, or the like pool type of thing that they're going to do this time too. And all those playoff modes will also work in regular leagues or association playoffs as well, which is kind of a nice little extra benefit.
Yeah, and like with the Arizona Fall League, you mentioned that it was like a development thing, but I believe you also said on the AMA that you could like say the level of player that's going to be in the tournament.
Yeah, so they each have their level of what they'll draw from. So, the AFL is, I don't know if it's a double A or triple A, it's sort of level, and they should only draw players from essentially that level. It's not probably won't be exactly like in real life. I think in real life they have some rules where it's only X number of players from single A or double A can play, and it's a little complicated overall for that. But we'll have the level should be essentially drawn from that. So yeah, if you want to set up a AA level tournament, then essentially it'll just draw AA level players.
Okay. Chat wants to know, can we edit the regions?
I'll have to look into that.
I thought I saw somewhere that you could, even in 17 somehow. But we can find out and get back to you.
I mean,
JCP.
I know they're not built into the game, so you can certainly have customize your own world.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they come from just like a big XML file or a big database. So, but yeah, we'll see if there's some sort of region editor that we can more easily put into the game. It might not necessarily. I don't think that would necessarily come for release time if it's not in already, but
Yeah, I think I saw someone. I think there's a file somewhere to edit the regions. I just don't remember if there was a front end to do it.
Yeah, I know you can do some stuff in the game itself with editing nations and leagues or nations and cities and stuff like that. But and I'm sure once we release it, there's going to be some very, very studious worker who does all the work for us, and we'll post there, every possible region in the world file or something that's going to crash our game because there's 6 million regions that you do.
Yeah. Oh, actually, I don't know if you saw people very excited about what you said on in the AMA. I believe it was your hot tip to get the huge league simulations going better.
Yeah.
Turning off the box scores, game logs, and stuff that you're not going to look at. What else?
Yeah, all the box scores, game logs, recap stuff. That stuff is pretty expensive. So turn that off if you don't want it. And the next most expensive is basically trading and finances.
Yeah, I don't know if you really need to care about the finances from a third level team that you're not going to look at.
Yeah, like if you're not going to, like, if you want the Italian and Dutch leagues, but you don't necessarily want them to be taking up that much time, turn off finances in the league or turn off trading in the league, and they'll still sim, but they'll just sim a lot faster.
Yeah, actually, like a minute after, or a couple minutes after you said that, I put a screenshot of that on Twitter, and someone came back like a minute later and was like, "This just sped up my 64 team league like crazy."
Yeah, I know. We've done more improvements for 18 to make stuff sim a little bit faster. Like, I think it should go a little bit faster even with that stuff on. But yeah, if you don't want it, turn it off, and it goes like zips through like crazy.
Yeah, and opening the game up for multi-core processing last year was also huge for speeding up everything. Everybody was a big fan of that.
Yeah.
We've also added the Negro Leagues to the historical minor leagues, thanks to seamheads.com. I mean, these guys working on these historical databases, amazing. They did all that work for all the accurate minor leagues last year, and now we're getting the Negro and Federal leagues this year. Unbelievable.
I can never compliment the roster team and historical team and minor league teams enough for the amount of work that they do to get it all done. It's like the Negro Leagues. If you look at, there's an article that came out on
Sporting News.
Sporting News that goes through a little bit more detail. It's got a couple quotes from Chuck on there. How it's because the Negro League stats was not all in one place. There was, I don't know, it was 2 or 3 different sources, and they all post their data in different ways and different formats. So they basically went through and combined it all and merged it together and then created this so that we could basically have the Negro Leagues for their starting in 1914 to 1947.
Something, I think 47 or 48. Yeah. I'm gonna try to find that link to the Sporting News article. But yeah, there's also a Polygon article from last year about the work that they did for the historically accurate minor leagues. Both very good reads, worth checking out. The problem is way too many people are retweeting our tweets. I mean, we could use more, but trying to find that post is going to take some time. Improved AI. A lot of work has been done to improve the AI throughout the game. Roster AI, trade AI, everything's been enhanced and optimized.
We always work on that.
That's in everything. I think if I look at last year's newsletter, I would assume this is copy and pasted. Though, usage of closers in high leverage games by certain managers. That's updated.
Well, it's every time we do stuff with the AI or the trading, we look at it. It's like, all right, we got our stuff working well, it all works good, and then they do some, crazy Shelby Miller trade or some, not using your closer in a elimination game, and it's just like I can't code in stuff like that. It just, when that happens in the game, people complain about how horrible it is, and then it happens in real life, and it's like, well, what am I going to do about it?
Yeah. It's funny because I was playing around a couple of weeks ago, and I ended up simming a season from the 2016 season, and I think I ended up with the Blue Jays and the Orioles in the playoffs. Zach Britton came in and lit up the game-winning home run. I was like, all right, well,
that would have been fun. I would have liked that being there too, but
redesigned injury system. The OOTP injury system has been reworked to be more realistic and interesting. I feel like it's already quite interesting. There was a rash of shark-related injuries I saw last week coming through. Some guy had a broken... what was it? I think he had a broken orbital bone from a shark attack.
That's the storyline system having some fun, but...
That made me think. I was like, if he broke an eye, what did he do to that shark?
You see me, you should see the other guy, right?
Yeah, it's like, he went on like the 15-day DL with a shark attack. I was pretty interested to see what happened to that shark.
Yeah, the injury system rework will be more of the in-game injuries, just to make sure we get the right amounts of injuries to various body types and so on.
More long-term effects and stuff like that. Ooh,
yeah, we'll try to get some nagging injuries in there too and stuff. So that it should be good. I had that on my list to work on at the start, and then I kind of got to a point where I said, I don't know if I quite had enough time to do it. And then, but a week or two later, Marcus comes back and says, hey, so about this injury thing, I think I can work on it. So it's nice to see that come to light then.
Do you know if there are instant career-ending injuries?
I think we need to. I don't know. I think we're still playing around with it exactly. It's the career-ending stuff is always like. I mean, some injuries are essentially career-ending, but whether are they career-ending? Do you say right now, or do you have to wait later? And then how much is a career-ending injury really a career-ending injury, or should it just take you down too far of a level that you have to work your way back? So,
yeah, that was actually one of the things I did. I did notice in the Bo Jackson sim I did a couple days or last week or 2 weeks ago. There was a lot of guys where it's like, oh hey, Nolan Ryan was doing really good, and it's like, yeah, but in '89 he kind of fell off after that. It's like, oh well, he had an arm injury here, and then you can just see like the next year's just going straight down from that.
Yeah, no, so our injury system now it's pretty good, but it's just there's always ways to make it better. So,
Evo Pats in the chat said he had a player get in a train accident once and retire in 2076. But
maglev trains.
Oh, okay, that's what it is. Just wanted to make sure.
Yeah,
we'll double check the commentary to make sure it says maglev in there. And also on your list to work on, I believe, is much more.
Yes, there's always much more.
There's their ability to retain player salaries and trades. People were very excited when we released that information on Friday.
Yeah, I wanted that last year. I'm not sure if I promised that last year or not, but so I was happy to get that in this year, and that's it's looked good so far. So, and
it's a percentage, right? You can just say like,
yeah, you basically say I want to retain The thing is, you do in increments of 5%. So, 5, 10, 50, whatever, and you retain it for the rest of the rest of their current contract.
New options for team promotions and relegations between leagues. Another one that people have been asking for a long time.
Yeah, that's insanely popular, apparently. So
I feel like this year we got a bunch of that stuff people have been asking for. Negro Leagues, promotions and relegations.
yeah,
Yeah.
well, we thankfully didn't have a new license to worry about this year or a massive new 3D feature to do. So we gotta have to put something else in, right?
All the stuff that makes the game just that
Yeah,
much better.
all the stuff that also makes the game fun
Mm.
and interesting and moving ahead. So
Yeah, a lot of people have also been asking about the new CBA rule changes. So we're getting most of that in there.
yeah, not necessarily everything, and some stuff will be slightly tweaked just because the real rules are insanely complicated. But
And I believe you'll have the option. You'll have the option to turn it on and off. Is that
yeah,
right?
I mean, it'll be more league options, league rules, right? So you can you can basically play on any system since the 1800s. So there's no reason why we would not let you turn it off here if you don't like it.
Improve player morale and team chemistry. Good, because my guys are always very upset. But I'm like, you guys have 46 wins, and it's like August. Play better, you'll feel better. It's like, come on.
Yeah, we've got a bunch of complaints about everyone not liking losing, and I mean they shouldn't like it when they're losing, but they shouldn't you know complain all the time to you about it. So
I just trade them. I'm like, I don't need to hear your lip. Get out of here.
yeah, no, it's
They're not helping the team win, right?
yeah, no, it's but yeah, the main changes on there is I think we're going to make things a little bit more open and transparent. So hopefully it's a little easier to tell who's the bad apple on the team and so on. And then also to make it a little bit less so, yes, the fact that the team sucks, not everyone should just be, ludicrously upset. Some people are fine with losing, essentially.
I also don't want those guys on my team.
Yeah, those are the ones you really should trade if they're not upset about losing. But we'll see how much that maps to real life or not.
Also, improve player creation and development system. That sounds like a Lucas thing. Possibly.
Not sure exactly what that one is referring to. I mean, we always do tweaks to the player developments to make it so they're aging at the at the right rates and making sure that speed and power and stuff are growing and developing at the right time. So
Also, improved game recaps. As we said, we'll have the 3D stuff. If you guys want to see more graphs and charts in the game recaps, please let Matt know so we can put those in. Was the win thing your idea?
the win probability, yeah,
Oh, see,
that
Matt
was
loves
mine.
graphs.
I would like to put that in the game last year, and Marcus was like, "Yeah, if we have time, get it in." And I just barely squeezed it in under the radar, and it was just like, "Oh, that looks awesome."
Yeah. Enhanced play-by-play text and league news. Always nice. Beautiful new interface with 3 different skins. I feel like I know the skins, but I don't know if we can talk about those.
Well,
In the
you
interface.
usually release it's the normal skin. There's usually a classic skin, and there's a dark skin. So I hope that's the same this year.
Also, much faster import speed of historical minor league seasons, and much more. Somebody's asking about screenshots. I tried to get a screenshot, but no.
Yeah.
I mean, we're still working on the game. Anything that goes out needs to get lots of approvals. So that stuff.
We're still finalizing the skins and all that. Where everything shows up on the screen. So we will definitely have some screenshots come out before release, but I'm not sure when.
Yeah, and when we get those, make sure you're definitely signed up for the newsletter on OOTPdevelopments.com. Let me get the real link for that. I think it's just OOTPdevelopments.com/newsletter. Nope, that's not it. Oh, I think I got the. Yeah, definitely want to be signed up to the newsletter because that is going to be the fastest place for you to get information. Oh, it was newsletter.php. So make sure you sign up there. Definitely be following us on Twitter at OOTP Baseball. Also Facebook.com/OOTP Baseball. But you shouldn't need any of that because you guys should be on the forums at OOTPdevelopments.com/board, and you'll see everything there. You guys should do a podcast. I think there's been discussion about doing a podcast.
Yeah, I mean
I don't know where that's gonna go.
I mean the AMA today certainly went very well, so we'll see if I don't know if we actually will do a podcast or just have us come on here more often. But
Yeah. The only thing is we're geographically very spread out, especially with the main stuff going on in Germany.
yeah, live things are not happening at 9 p.m. Eastern time.
Yeah.
With Marcus, because he doesn't tend to like to stay up till 3 a.m. very often. So
I mean, I don't see what's wrong with staying up till 3 a.m., but yeah, we're definitely gonna do a lot more stuff on the stream. Gonna try to get more guests and stuff. I would like to get Paul Sporer back talking about fantasy baseball, stuff like that. Yeah, let's see. I feel like there's something we're missing, but I don't know what it is. I hate that feeling. We talked about March 24th is the release date. Get your pre-order in, and you'll get access. What's it? 4 days ahead?
Yeah, I think it's the 20th, the Monday of the week.
Yep. I mean, so if you're not doing that, I don't know what you're doing. What else? Has your favorite baseball team made any big moves in this offseason?
Well, my favorite baseball team right now is the Blue Jays. So, yeah, they've made some moves.
more subtractions than additions.
Well, I mean, in terms of numbers, they've made more additions than subtractions. They've only lost a couple guys, but losing Edwin is certainly a big.
Yeah, at the beginning of the offseason, I was like, why? I mean, I felt like they were going to get one of the two back between him and Batista. I feel like Edwin should have been the one you got back, but I feel like I always knew it would be Batista would be the one that comes back because I feel like he's like a cult classic, like a cult hero up there.
Yeah, but Batista's a little bit more of the the fan interest to be a little bit higher in Batista. He's a little bit older, and Edmonds essentially had the better year the last sort of year or two. But yeah, I mean they kind of half-assedly tried to get Encarnacion back before, and then when he said no, they pivoted to other options, and essentially it worked out that no one else really wanted Batista. So, yeah, I guess.
Hey, you can't knock it.
Yeah, I mean it's a good deal overall to get him back. So they kind of needed to bring him back, and hopefully, I mean, there's still a good chance he might have a better year than Encarnacion too.
Mm-hmm. Plus, he's got the bat flip. I mean, if you have to choose between the bat flip and the parrot, I feel like you got to take the bat flip.
Yeah, the bat flip was pretty good. It's they both hit some pretty big home runs for the team in the playoff games the last couple of years. So
I think the guy that just signed, did he sign with the Giants? I believe a guy from Korea signed with the Giants, but he has announced he will be giving up the bat flip when he comes to America. I don't know how I feel about that.
Bat flips are much more popular in foreign leagues. It's like there's a whole art of like the I think it's the Korean League bat flips or something. There's like they almost have like competitions for it. And I'm sure on their like weekly sporting news recaps, there's like the best bat flips of the week sort of thing that comes on. So
yeah,
we don't quite have bat flips yet in our 3D highlights, but
maybe
we're getting there
if we get enough requests. Yeah, San Francisco Giants signed South Korean infielder Jae Gyun Hwang. I did a stream where I played in the Korean League, and it was kind of a nightmare. I couldn't pronounce anybody's name. Yeah, he's giving up the bat flip in favor of a more Major League Baseball appropriate swing.
Uh,
But he's a monster, so it's good. I believe he's the guy that may have essentially thrown his bat at the pitcher one time, tried to flip it back. But then when I saw that announcement, I saw a lot of people saying, "Yes, you can't do that here," with the GIF of Odor and Bautista fighting.
yeah, that's Batista's a character, that's to say the least. So a good character when you're winning. Sometimes if you're losing, a couple of years ago the act was tiring a little bit, but the last year or two has been fun.
It was funny in the AMA, the Diamondbacks official Reddit account came in and asked what it's going to take for Paul Goldschmidt to be a Hall of Famer in every sim.
Yeah,
I believe.
Fly back with a 25-year bottle of scotch.
Yeah.
We'll see if they deliver on that promise. But past being bribed to get your players to get better ratings.
Hey,
so.
I got to see what it's going to cost me to get just into this draft class.
As you said, that's you got to talk to Lucas about that too.
Yeah, I'll go in with a fake name. No one will know, and then everybody will be talking about me, and I'll be like, "Yeah, that's me." They just don't know. Yeah. Also, if you signed up to be part of the beta team, you'll probably be getting an email at the end sometime this week. I know Lucas has been sick, but he's working on getting back to everybody, getting the people in, and sadly breaking the news to the people that aren't going to be in. So we'll have that soon. JCP, if you want in the draft class, make sure you go pre-order by Friday. You'll save your 20% off, and you'll be eligible to get in. You'll be able to set your name, position, and I believe just some general tendencies.
Subject to approval.
Subject to approval. I was thinking I could just make a funny name here, but I figured maybe that would be approved.
Yeah, it's we got to be a little bit careful about that. But
yeah. Oh, maybe I can. Maybe I'll ask to be made in a foreign league. They'll be like, "Who is this guy? It just came out of nowhere." Trying to see if there's anything jumps out from the AMA today.
Am I here? Is there any other Twitter questions that came in, or?
I don't believe so. I told them to bring the questions here. So if you guys have any more questions in the chat, please feel free to ask us. I know there was a question. We answered it in the AMA, but I'm assuming if one person asked it, multiple people would have asked it. Let me go look real quick. If the Negro Leagues are in the minor leagues, how would I use them against MLB teams in a fictional league? I believe the answer was you could just modify the league, right?
Yeah, you basically can add them in and then move the teams around. And I'm not sure how exactly it would work with the color barrier stuff or not, but
yeah, I believe the setting is the color barrier is there, and then you can turn it off after. Was it 47? Was it?
So you can turn it off.
You turn it off before 47.
It automatically goes off after the actual integration.
Right.
I believe the color barrier is a league level thing, so I'm not sure how you can get sort of a Negro League to play against other leagues. I mean, I guess you could always set them up as an association as well and have sort of a, Negro League versus MLB playoff system as well. Could work too. I can imagine that being an interesting.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see what those rosters are going to look like. Just because some of the stuff is like so hard to get all the real information.
Yeah.
Because I was looking at who was I looking up? I was looking up Josh Gibson, and it's 800 home runs. But then you look, it's like he hit like 100, and I think it was I forget how many it was. It's like they have records for him hitting, like 70 home runs. What was it? They have records for him hitting 115 in the Negro Leagues, and then like 44 in Mexico, 14 in Cuba. But apparently, the majority of them were like games that don't have records. So you just kind of have to go with that. So I'm interested to see how these ratings come out.
Yeah, and I heard a talk to a month or two ago about the Negro Leagues, and it was, I mean, a lot of the stuff back in the time it certainly wasn't nearly as regimented as it is nowadays in MLB, right? Like the schedules was very, it was kind of like you'd play when you could play. They'd obviously, have a lot of challenges where they basically have the Negro League teams play against, the Cuban teams or some of the other foreign leagues.
Yeah,
It's certainly interesting to look into, but yeah, I'm not sure exactly what of that we have for stats and what comes in, and obviously for us it'll be set up a little bit more like a regular league,
yeah,
but
because they say like a lot of stuff was like traveling exhibition games and
yeah.
all sorts of stuff. So it will be interesting to see how that all shakes out.
Yeah.
We need association histories and leaderboards.
Yeah, there's always a crowd who wants more at the association, so we'll see what we can do this year with that.
The idea is to get everything ever in baseball into the game. It might just take a little bit of time.
So,
But I feel this year I think we got a lot of the stuff I think that people have been looking for.
yeah, no, I definitely checked off a lot of things from the map, and as we always say, there's always a lot more. Like I think, a couple of the things that I almost want most are things that I haven't quite done yet that I hope that I have enough time to get in before release time. So I'm not going to say them now in case if I don't get them in, but
You don't have to be coming after you if that doesn't work out. But yeah, stuff like improved AI is always a thing. But yeah, the Negro Leagues, Federal League, tournaments, all that stuff. This is like, I feel like those are like top 3 things people have been asking for. So I'm very excited that we were able to add this stuff this year.
yeah.
I mean, not me. I couldn't code for. I'd lie. In college, I believe it was in Visual Basic. I made a face that could smile and frown.
That's not bad.
I mean, it was like a colon parenthesis face, but it came out real good. A bad class. Half the class wasn't in a classroom. Or no, half the class was in a classroom. Half the class was actually in a computer lab. I don't know if you ever tried to learn programming off of a whiteboard. It's just not something that clicks.
Well, most of my computer science classes were just in regular classrooms, so
I couldn't do that. I can't learn like that. I need to be there. I need to be in there with the slashes and the backslashes and stuff.
you're just expected to go to the computer lab an awful lot after class to do the actual work. So
Yeah. Nah, not really a big fan.
probably not a lot less coding than Marcus had when he first started. So some of that shows in the actual game, but or in the code, but that's another story.
I would ask you how you code the game, but I have no idea. You could tell me exactly how you do it, and I would have no idea.
Yeah, probably wouldn't tell you anything.
Is it?
I wait till I hear a few keywords before I start answering that question.
Is it in C#?
It's in C++.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I only know that C# is C# because it's like C++ and then plus plus, and that's what the sharp thing looks like. Yeah. So hey.
That's Microsoft's advertising for C#. But
yeah. I feel like nobody went to that, but I also don't know.
there's a decent amount. I used to work in C# a little bit, but they do some things easier. They do some things not as nice. So
yeah, I listen to some podcasts where they talk about Apple programming, and it's like, I don't know anything about programming, but these guys seem like they know what they're talking about. So this is interesting to me.
You're upset no one asked about Otani.
Yeah, no. Somebody did. Nobody asked on the AMA, but El Tomso does say make sure Shohei Otani is good.
Yeah. Well, you still have to figure out what we need to do with them. But
Yeah, that's
again,
that's
like,
that's gonna be tricky. That's one of those guys. I know. Marcus said maybe one day he'll figure out how to make a switch pitcher.
yeah.
But
Yeah, it's like the switch pitcher. It's the two-way players. Is once they get a little bit more in, and we can look into a little bit more of how best to do them, or essentially how the AI handles them. Because I mean, we have them in the game. When you draft players, you get players who have pitching and hitting stats.
mhm.
In some cases, it's
Yeah,
just
I was looking at old Haas Radburn today. Had his positions are pitcher and right fielder. So
yeah, it's just essentially right now the game. As soon as they get drafted, they get set as either a pitcher or a hitter, and
yeah, that was another. Who was it in that Bo Jackson sim that I've been tweeting a bunch of stuff out from? Someone. There was a good pitcher in real life, but he started as a first baseman. And when he came into the league kept him as a first baseman, and he just never made it through, and he never switched to pitching. I thought that was interesting.
I know. I mean, in real life, there are a lot of guys who do transfer between them, or they did at some point early in life, and then now I guess there's San Diego's test with was it Betancourt.
Yeah,
They're trying him out as a backup catcher slash left fielder slash pitcher, I think.
yeah, throws gas. Doesn't it feel like 97?
Maybe not 97, but I think he was at least early mid 90s. So.
That should be interesting. Though, we need to make these guys better, just so Babe Ruth can be even better.
Yeah, well, that's whenever you look back at those stats, it's just like, oh my god.
Yeah,
His stats as a hitter are like eclipse everybody, and then you're like, oh yeah, by the way, he also was like a 34 pitcher for his career or something like that.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, Barry Bonds hit a lot of home runs. You know what? Sure didn't win 96 games on the mound for the Giants or the Pirates. Yeah, I want to figure out a way to make. I did a team where it was all Babe Ruth throughout the years. They got tired though, so I'm going to fix that. I'll fix that for next year. We'll redo that. Yeah, we're almost wrapping it up. In a couple minutes, we'll be handing it over to Jeff and Adam. I assume I did not double check that they're actually streaming tonight. I believe they are. They do the franchise hockey manager stream. Something with Ontario, probably some sort of Canadian hockey team. So that should be fun to watch. My favorite part of hockey is just the names, because somehow hockey player names are great, just like the Korean League names in this game. Two things.
I think every sport and every league's got some good names of guys. So.
I was trying to see who. Speaking of guys that can pitch and hit, Brooks Kieschnick, great baseball name. Also could be a hockey player. I always wanted to see, is the Owings that pitches for the Diamondbacks, is he related to the other Owings that pitches for the Diamondbacks? Or that did?
There was an Owing. The Chris Owings was almost a two-way player.
Was that Chris, and then Micah's the one now, or was Micah the one that was a two-way player?
I'm not sure they're related, but one of the Owingses was a two-way-ish player.
Yeah, Micah Owings was the two-way player.
I forget if he was he a hitter who could pitch or a pitcher who could hit, but
Owings was used exclusively as a pitcher and occasional hitter.
Okay.
Also played some outfield.
A little bit more like your Wood or Travis Wood played a couple games in the outfield this year, or Bumgarner DHing, right? So yeah, that's interesting. I'd like to get that in at some point, just because it is an interesting dynamic to see if you can actually develop someone who can do that. I know once when I was just fooling around with the test sim just to see how good I can get a player, I created a guy who could basically maxed out the ratings of both hitting and pitching, and I would sim a week, start him a game, and then switch him back to a shortstop for the rest of the week. And I forget what I maxed out his WAR on the season was. Got it done at 25 or 30, I think maybe, but
not bad. What
Yeah.
was...
For a guy who had like a 150 ERA and 120 innings and was also hit 50 home runs and Gold Glove defensive shortstop or something.
I feel like I was recently putting in that Bo Jackson sim. I think I put up some ridiculous WAR numbers with Pedro Martinez.
Yeah, I saw he like led the league in strikeouts. Was it like 12 years in a row or something?
Something ridiculous like that. I think he had like 430 Ks one year. Where is it? Again, I tweet too many screenshots. That's the problem here. Manny was being Manny. Huh. Wait, is that it? Nope. Nope.
To me, that's always a lot of the fun of the game. Is you replay something and you just see sort of how crazy it is. That some people are in their careers, right?
Yeah, but here's my problem. All right, so someone was mentioning like all the free agent signings that didn't happen, and one was going back to '93 or the '92-'93 offseason, and when Greg Maddux signed with the Braves, apparently they were trying to get Barry Bonds instead. So I left Maddux on the Cubs, put Barry on the Braves. And I don't know what it is, but literally every sim I do, the Braves win that '95 World Series, and they can't do anything else. I get so upset. It's like, come on, just give me 2. I'll be happy with 2.
Most teams are happy with one, so
But I had
take
that one.
what you get, right?
I had that one. I lived through that. Just let me make up for the 14 other years that they couldn't get it done. Where is man? Why can I not find this? I just want to know how many he did. So upsetting. Too many pictures. Well, if you guys are on Twitter at OOTP Baseball, go follow the account. You can go find out how many people Pedro Martinez struck out, because he had some ridiculous WAR. That's what I really want to see.
Pedro Martinez was 173. I think I found it here and here. 173 WAR, 5208 strikeouts, 422 in 1 year was his best. Where he went 26-5 with a 178 ERA.
That's pretty good.
16.7 WAR in that season.
What was it?
16.7.
I feel like it should have been better.
I don't know.
Manny got a 10 1 year.
That was with Philly, apparently. He spent most of his career with.
Yeah, he came up and they never really got rid of him.
Well, he left as a free agent, looks like, in 29-30. So.
David Ortiz put up his best WAR at 43 years old, at 7.4. Only 888 home runs.
Well, I mean, he had one of his best years this year.
Yeah. I did unretire him twice. He hit 31 home runs in the first one, 23 home runs in the second one. So he had some gas in the tank left. All right, but before these guys start knocking down my door, Matt, thank you very much for coming.
Yeah, no problem.
Very much appreciated. Definitely go check out that Reddit AMA that Marcus did today on /r/baseball. Definitely hit up the OOTP 18 forums on ootpdevelopments.com/board. Sign up for the newsletter. I put the link out there. It'll be in the description of the YouTube archive. Follow us on Twitter at OOTP Baseball. Follow us on Facebook, also OOTP Baseball. And if you missed any part of the stream, you can head over to youtube.com/OOTP Developments, and you can watch the whole thing there.
And for your
Good. Go ahead, man. You have something to say?
I was just going to say pre-order.
Yeah, definitely. OOTPdevelopments.com. Go pre-order. If you get your pre-order in by the 27th, I believe it is. Yes, by the 27th, you get 20% off. And also you'll be entered in to be a draft prospect in the standard MLB game. If you wait till after the 27th, you'll be able to get 10% off. But either of those, you'll also get access to the game 4 days before it comes out on March 14th. So go do that. Get your pre-orders in. Here's what you do. You go get yourself a pre-order. Then you go buy your friend a pre-order. Because the gift of giving, right?
It's an early birthday, Christmas, Valentine's Day, Easter. I don't know what else.
Let me tell you what. If you roll up to your significant other on Valentine's Day with not only a pre-order for OOTP 18, but then you tell them that they get access 4 days early, I mean, you can't go wrong. You cannot go wrong with that. All right. Again, thank you very much for joining me, Matt. Appreciate it. Yeah. And definitely also check out reddit.com/r/OOTP. A lot of good stuff going on over there as well. Yeah, we'll see you guys again next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. And take it easy, folks.